Sunday morning, and do we already have some news to share before this Lions and Chicago Bears matchup? Let's get into it. All right, well, as many of us have been preparing for this big matchup today at 1 p.m. in Chicago at Soldier Field, the Detroit Lions had to make a flurry of moves over the weekend. Apologize I couldn't get it to you guys sooner, but man, marinated on this one for a little bit since last night. Just thinking about the impacts of what all of these moves mean, the impact on the game, the impact on the roster. What in the world is going on in Detroit right now? We've suffered so many injuries, and now we've got players just doing stupid stuff, and I think that's where I want to start first. Detroit Lions lost a player purely to stupidity. What ensued on Friday night carried over until about 1:47 in the morning on Saturday. And as you see the news report there by David Burkett, Brandon Joseph arrested on suspicion of DUI. And I'm going to read this to you guys. So Detroit Lions waived safety Brandon Joseph as part of a slew of roster moves Saturday after the second-year player was arrested for suspicion of operating under the influence. He was in Dearborn Heights. Dearborn Heights police told this to the Free Press. So Paul Vanderplow, Dearborn Heights Police Department director, said that Joseph was pulled over for speeding on Michigan Avenue around 1:47 a.m. Maybe he was going to get a coney dog. I don't know. Saturday, anyway, and taken into custody for a few hours before he was released. Joseph was traveling over the posted speed limit, but at least noted, quote, but it was not excessive speed. Vanderplow, end quote. He was compliant, quote. He was very respectful, Vanderplow said. He went through the battery of tests. Through those tests, now we have some analysis to go through before charges can be done, as we do with any other suspicion of OUI. He'll go through that process, and then he'll go through the court process like anybody else. Man, this is just tough. So, just thinking about this for a moment. Lions are in a tough situation right now. We've got a major injury to Carlton Davis. Major injury to Khalil Dorsey. Both of those guys gone for the season. Outside chance that Carlton Davis could return by, NFC Championship game. At earliest possible divisional game. But Dan Campbell has already said that unlikely to happen. Brandon Joseph has a huge opportunity today to step up in a big way and help this team win. What is he doing on a Friday night? It's a game weekend. You should be traveling, getting ready to travel to Chicago, and you're out drinking. I understand that, back in the old days, even one of our former quarterbacks, right, loved to drink, loved to go out and rah-rah it up on the weekends or before the game, like just before the game, talking about Bobby Lane. But this is, 70 years later, whatever it is, 60 years later. Guys take their bodies so seriously now. It's like a temple, right? I mean, they don't want to put any poison into their bodies, especially before a game. You're literally dehydrating yourself before a game. That's what alcohol does to you. Takes all the hydration out of your body. So unless he's slamming Gatorades for, 24 hours straight or Pedialyte, and his muscles ain't going to react the same. And I don't know why you'd even want to be out drinking 24 or even 48 hours in advance of a game anyway, knowing that your team is on the way to the playoffs, potentially, making a run for the Super Bowl, and you have a huge opportunity now that two players just went down, and you don't know what's going to happen with Brian Branch, where he's going to be put, and you're out screwing around. Not cool. Not good. Not put the team above yourself, right? It's a long season. I get it. I understand it. Put the team above yourself. Now, the officer there, the director, said that he did not know if Joseph took a breathalyzer test or what the results were, but they did take blood. So who knows what's going to happen with this. The Lions, of course, declined to comment on Saturday evening. They waived Joseph and return man Maurice Alexander. They activated Ifeatu Melifonwu from injury reserve finally, and then they signed 3 more players. So 9 moves total. Let's get into the moves here. Okay, so Lions make 9 roster moves ahead of the Bears matchup Former All-Pro will not play on Sunday, but Melifonwu is back. So who's the All-Pro that's out? That's the big question, right? Detroit Lions have a big game on Sunday, as we already know. But they activated Efetu Melifonwu. So here's the big one off the bat, according to A to Z Sports. Melifonwu will be back for Sunday's game. I'm sure he's going to be on a pitch count. I'm sure he's not going to get a ton of snaps. If he gets more than 50%, I would be very, very surprised. Obviously, the Lions are going to need his help because Brian Branch will be able to move around in this secondary, which we're expecting this weekend is going to happen. And we're going to see Brian Branch kind of all over the place. He might be in a traveling situation where he's got a certain assignment. He's going to take that assignment all day. Or we could be seeing him, down in the box at times, cover the nickel. He could be outside corner at times. He could be playing in a hybrid linebacker role. I expect a lot of action from Brian Branch this weekend, and having a safety, adding another safety to the roster this weekend. Now that we've lost Brandon Joseph, clearly needed because we're going to need to put somebody back there with Kirby, right? The waiver of Brandon Joseph, we already talked about that one. No need to continue to go down that rabbit hole, right? Maurice Alexander, this one's a little interesting. Alexander was also waived. I'm not real sure what's going on here. Like, Alexander's up, he's down, he's up, he's down. Like, what are they doing? According to A to Z Sports, they said that this one could point to Khalif Raymond being back. His 21-day clock can be started this coming week, and he could be back against the 49ers. No word on who will return kicks and punts in this game. So they also brought up and elevated Tom Kennedy. And this was a little shocking to me because Maurice Alexander's been a big part of, this team when obviously Khalif Raymond went down. He's been filling into that role nicely. And so then they waive him, less than 48 hours before the game, and they bring back Tom Kennedy. Now, suspicions are that Tom Kennedy is going to be returning punts and kicks this weekend. They also waived David Bada from injured reserve with an injury settlement. Bada was signed during training camp, if you can remember. He suffered a season-ending torn Achilles injury. Now it's finally just the Lions are going to move on and do what they need to do as far as the available IR guys that they can bring back. They did sign Mitchell Agood to the roster this weekend, so it'd be nice to have Agood. He will provide some help on the defensive line. Clearly, he's one of those stars in training camp, right? And throughout the preseason, had a really good preseason. A lot of us expected him to be close to making the roster and having a big impact on this season. And with all the injuries, I'm surprised he hasn't been up, sooner or more often. But now he's getting an opportunity again this weekend. Lions also added Chris Smith, more defensive tackle help here. Linebacker help. I mean, he can kind of move around and do a lot of things for this team. They also elevated Jamar Jefferson. We spoke about that during the week, that he should have an opportunity this weekend on special teams to help this team. They also added Lauren Strickland from the practice squad. Clearly, this is a huge opportunity for Jefferson. It's an even bigger opportunity for Lauren Strickland. He's been great at special teams. He's been good all season. Whenever he's had an opportunity to do, what he's asked to do, he's not really failed in that respect. So, a lot of moves going on before this Chicago game. Let's talk about some of the injuries real quick. On Friday, this really hasn't changed a whole lot. As a matter of fact, I don't think it changed at all. Let me bring it in real quick here. First, we'll start with the Bears. And yeah, I don't see much changing here. I mean, this Travis Homer, running back, he's doubtful. Jalen Johnson still questionable. That's a big one for the Lions. He was sick last week. If that illness is getting better, he didn't practice on Friday. There's an opportunity for him to play. Maybe he plays sick. We'll see. Doug Kramer, their center, he is out. All the rest of the guys are questionable or their injury status has been removed. So offensive tackle, Tevin Jenkins and Braxton Jones, expected to play, but they are still questionable. Gervon Dexter, one of my favorite prospects this last season, is looking to be active, but he's still questionable. Let's take a look at the Lions. A lot of guys on the injury report, right? A lot of names. We knew that David Montgomery, Jalen Reeves-Maybin will be out. Good to see Jalen Reeves-Maybin back on the squad, though, as of this week. Brian Branch, Graham Glesko, and Efetu Melifonwu, all questionable, all expected to play. Nobody else has an injury designation for the rest of the Lions. So not a whole lot has changed here. The biggest news of the day is the fact that Brandon Joseph, man, what in the world are you doing, dude? Like, this was a big opportunity for you. We needed you. You played great when you've had an opportunity. And, big mistake, man. Big mistake. Do you guys get the feeling? Please let me know in the comments how you feel about all these moves. Number one, how do you feel about Tom Kennedy over Maurice Alexander? I mean, Tom has just hung around this team for a few seasons now. hasn't had a ton of opportunity to play. I'm a little concerned that we're trading Maurice Alexander in the waning moments before a game, before, you know, they head out to Chicago, that Tom Kennedy is going to have that opportunity. I don't know. You guys let me know in the comments how you feel about that one. But more importantly, do you feel like this locker room is struggling a little bit? I mean, we're seeing mistakes now of, you know, with Brandon Joseph doing things that he knows that he shouldn't be doing, especially before. I mean, you're a grown ass man. You can do whatever you want, right? But when you think about the team and the team and the team, it's think about the team first. So did you feel like the locker room's having a little bit of an issue here? Maybe some of the guys losing some confidence. Do you feel like Dan Campbell's having any issues here with the locker room? I'll give you my personal opinion. I'm going to say no. I don't think that's an issue. I think this is an isolated incident. I don't think that this is a Dan Campbell thing. I don't think it's a locker room thing. I think it's just an isolated incident here, and it'll be kept as such. I think that the rest of the team is on board here, and they know what's in front of them. I think it was the right move for Dan Campbell to say, look, man, this is championship team potential. We need guys that are all in, bought all in, guys that aren't going to make mistakes. At least not right now. We are too deep into the season. There's only 3 weeks left, and then it's on to the postseason. You have to be mistake-free from here on out. You're supposed to be getting better, right? The trajectory, you're supposed to be getting better, not worse. The Lions have been getting better all season. They ripped off 11 in a row. Valiant effort against the Bills. And now it's time to go wipe the floor with the Chicago Bears. I'll meet you there right here at 12:30 today. We'll see you guys soon. Go One Pride, go Detroit Lions. We'll see you guys all in the next one. You have a wonderful day. Appreciate y'all. Take care.